We're going to look at each question by question, and what you need to do is watch the videos, and then what you need to do is have a look at your own answer and see, are you doing those same features? Fill it in on your OneNote and then think about things that you need to improve for the future. Now, it's all very well reviewing your work, but unless you come back and keep looking at these things and thinking about that's what I need to remember, then you're not going to make necessarily the improvements. So, our 4-mark question should be 4 easy marks. So if we take a look at the mark scheme, which is at the top, and this is in the front of your books in that How Will My Work Be Marked sheet that you got last year. So a simple or generalised comment that might talk about a similarity or a difference, depending upon what's in the question, might get you 1 to 2 marks. But then what you need to do is you need to link it to specific examples from the eras they've shown. Now, we did Anglo-Saxon and Norman, but ordinarily you probably do medieval versus something like early modern or present day. So sometimes they've jumped from things like early modern to present day because they've wanted to make links between witchcraft and conscientious objectors. So think about the overall similarity first, or difference. And you've got to give specific information about the topic, not just name checking, which might just be the blood feud or the murder and fine. On our paper then, for the different classes, we had 2 different questions. So the first thing you should do is you should look at the introductory question. Think about whether it's to do with differences or similarities. Okay, highlight that. That's what I would do in my answer so that I knew that I was focusing on one. If you bring in the other one, you don't get any marks. So there's no point in doing it. You need to spend 5 minutes only on this question, so you need to be really focused. So I would highlight what it's asking me to do, like attitudes towards punishment. So I know I'm only focusing on punishments. If you go the other way and you start talking about crimes, you are not getting points for that. Differences, I'd highlight here, and I'd also highlight the eras or put a ring around the eras so I know that it's Saxon versus Norman, because again, if I do the wrong era, I'm not getting any marks. So taking the difference question first then, I have put things in red that help you get that higher level, that level 2. So start with the wording of the question. One way attitudes were different towards punishment, so it's getting you thinking, and then use the eras as well. And identify what it is. So the monarchs had different priorities. Okay, so very clearly, and then each time I've got red on here is where I'm linking it back to the priority of the monarch. So black is my evidence, and you can see it's specific. In Anglo-Saxon times, the blood feud meant families dealt with justice. Whoever killed your relative could be killed by you. So that is giving specific, this is what the blood feud was. It was dealt with by communities, is that link back to the priority of the monarch. Then in Norman times, so I'm making it very clear it's different. Now you could do words like similarly or in contrast. In Norman times, William wanted greater control as he was a conqueror and unpopular. The murder and fine was paid by the whole village to the king if a Norman was killed. This would deter people and gave the king greater control in punishment. So again, I'm linking it back to what I said was the difference of what William's priority was. Now, if you struggle to read my writing, this is one of the key things that examiners say. Okay, I'm trying to write on a screen. I find it quite hard to write on a screen. If I'm writing quickly, it generally in books is a scrawl as well. And people might be saying, what's this? What do you mean here? Oh, yes, when I say, oh, it means this. So think about the examiners. Your work is going to be scanned next year. It's going to go on a computer for an e-pen mark by an examiner. So think about slowing it down to make it easy for them to read. So this is 5 minutes. Now you should be able to do this easily in the 3 to 5 minutes overall, particularly if you've practiced these well. So this is designed to put in here so that you can see it is a great answer, absolutely fantastic, but it does not link to the question. So if you read through it, it does everything. It tells you, it aims to deter, there's the similarity, I've got my specific example, I've got my other specific example, I've explained it back to the question. But if you look at my question, it's asking you for similarities between the early modern period and it's asking you for the industrial era. So the next slide should be able to tell you, or give you the specific example for those specific ones, early modern and industrial. Overall, this answer would get a 0. So you can see here now it's the same question, but it's actually on task. So this is going to get myself 4 marks. So I've got the eras in, so I've put the specific dates in rather than necessarily write early modern or industrial, because actually generally they'll probably just give you the years. There's specific evidence in there, and then there's the link back to why that is. So that's going to get you that 4 marks. Again, I've used that word similarly here, whereas obviously in the other one it was asking about differences where you might have used in contrast. So think about connectives to show what you're saying as well. But this one will get itself 4 marks.